Alright, here it is. This is my version of the unboxing. I'm not going to actually open the box, so you've probably seen a million of those. I want to cover this Diatone number 17. The reason you know it's actually number 17 is because on all the pieces of the body there's actually a number 17 on it. I looked at a lot of different kits for 250 racers, and overall this one was the most decent one. The quality was pretty good. It looked pretty tough. It's thick enough that I don't think it's going to get damaged when you crash it, and it's thin enough that it should be light. I did notice that it does have 4 body pieces versus 3 or 2 that you see from some of the other kits. Normally this is built with the vibration dampeners on the opposite side and then the PVC boards at the top. In my case, I want to hide all those cables. I don't want them even seen in the body. I want them under the unit, since I have a second part that goes right under this one. It's going to really cover all the cables inside there. And depending, maybe I'll try to shove the ESCs in there. But if not, I'll put them at the bottom of the legs right out here. So, I mean, the cable length is going to be very, very short. This is going to be the back. This one might have my antennas popping out through. And this will be my front. So make sure that you line it up properly, and you don't put the poles in this way, and then when you're done you're like, oh wait a minute, the holes don't line up, whoops, then you have to go back the opposite way. I know there's boards that are lighter and better out there, but I wasn't looking for that. I was kind of trying to find a combination of something that's going to look really good, work good for me, and I had a lot of space to work with as well. Let me get some of this stuff out here. I'm not going to go through the build or the unboxing. You've probably seen a million of those. I'm going to go through the mods that I'm going to do to this. So when you see me flying with this later on, you can always go back to the video and see how I did this. First thing that I did is I got the CC3D board coming in. So I'm kind of prepping this with screws and washers on both sides. So I'm going to place the board right dead center here. After a lot of back and forth, the way this build's supposed to be is, this is the metal chassis, there's the top cover, then you have your bottom chassis, and then you have these little rubber mounts. Now, I redid this a little different. You're supposed to put these legs under here, and then it takes another plate that screws the legs in. I wanted to save a little bit of space, so I eliminated that extra board. And I wanted to get the legs a little higher, closer to the PVC board, power distribution board. There you go, PDB. So I raised them a little higher, and I bolted them from the bottom. So I eliminated a little weight, and I made it a little easier. It does not come with these. It actually comes with, I don't know if I have the extra parts, but the legs are actually these little red separators here. And they're normally out here. I don't like that. I don't like any kind of pressure out here. I don't want it to, you know, if I do crash, I don't want it to have any kind of horrific damage or pressure against these tips here. So I decided to remove them. Instead, there are 4 small holes that are not being used on the board. And I went ahead and I grabbed these little separators that you've seen for the boards. They actually have some extra long ones that I used. And I'm using those as for legs. So it lands pretty good. It's pretty great there so far. The power distribution board on this model actually supposed to be mounted this way. And you connect your ESCs here and here. Then you wire it up. I don't want cables. I want to make this thing as clean as possible. So I actually flipped the board upside down, mounted the bottom this way, and I'm going to use the power distribution board underneath. Now, how's that going to work? Actually pretty neat. I'm going to install the flight controller here. I'm going to run, here, let me show you here. I'm going to put the FPV transmitter right back here. I'm going to use not this one, but actually I have one where it has side pins. This one's going to be mounted on top with the wires pointing up, right here, right over the controller. And up front, I'm going to be using a Mobius camera. And this, if you haven't used this is made by 3M. It's called a double lock Velcro. It actually, the way it works is a little different than regular Velcro. Regular Velcro, you have your puffy side and you have your rough side, and you constantly have to like pull them apart. If you're going to be using batteries and constantly removing stuff, this thing is great because it actually locks into place pretty snug and pretty neat. And if anyone's seen my older videos with some of the other quads, on a lot of them I don't even have vibration dampeners, and I barely get any kind of jello on the footage, and that's because of this kind of two-sided Velcro. So I use these for everything. So first thing I'm going to do is mount this right here for my Mobius camera. I actually have the Velcro on both sides. I'm going to place it right here, so this way when I'm about to fly, I get on Mobius, snap it right in, and it's good to go. Alright, let me show you here what else I'm going to do. The bottom of this board just simply has a hole. This hole is used for if you want to use a standard power distribution board or any kind of wiring on here. I'm going to strap the battery, here it is, at the bottom of this unit. Thus, the reason putting the legs here, it's going to be perfect for the battery. Just enough where the battery is going to help if I'm on top of grass, and then this is going to help for setting anything up. This just has a hole, so it doesn't really connect very well. So I grabbed this old plate that I had, which is all it really is a little adjuster plate to help install flight controller boards. And as you can see, I'm going to use tie wraps just to hold it in place here. I simply grab my Velcro, dead center, and pointing to the back. Of course, there's a lot of extra Velcro, but you see where the battery will go? Nice and neat, dead in the middle, and the weight is nice and even. I've seen a lot of people mounting the battery in the back here, sometimes trying to put it in the front. I mean, then you have to kind of try to compensate the weight this way, and it kind of drives you crazy. The Mobius camera only weighs about, I think like 40 grams, and maybe in total with everything, maybe 50. And this is about the weight of this here. So the Mobius camera and this will balance each other out. I'll keep this board completely without, having to go crazy on adjusting and trimming it too much. I should be getting the ESCs on hopefully next week, so I can start screwing this thing in there. And I'm going to have a nice little squishy area in there. If you do crash, the bottom of this board will rip out from this one, because these are just little vibration dampeners. So once you're done installing these and you're happy the way they're going to go, I recommend running a very thin tie wrap through the other board, strap it around, preferably some black ones so you don't see them, and then don't leave it loose. Take it just a little bit snug, just enough to help with the vibration dampening, but enough if you do crash, it will never pop out, and that'll avoid any problems of this thing separating or having any kind of issues during the crash. Because yes, this is designed to crash. You will crash this. It'll be a lot of fun in crashing. So again, this case is the Diatone number 17. Pretty light, about 185 grams. Out the box, I did shave down extra pipes. I did shave down a whole extra board from the bottom. I am eliminating smaller board that's here. I am adding this one, but it's carbon graphite, so it's super light, and should be good. I mean, we'll see after it's built and after it's flying. Just kind of wanted to give you a run through. The batteries of choice that I'm using for this are going to be the Nanotechs 1.3. I ordered 2 sets. I have one. This one in particular is a 25C with a burst of 50C. And I have another one coming that is 40C with a burst of 90C. I call that my NOS battery. And then I have another one which is I think like a 3570. So I got 3 types with different C ratings. They all have this type of connector. These are pretty good, and they're pretty popular right now, and they stay on. So, oh, and this is the Bosscam FPV. Let me go put this over here for a second. The reason I'm going to use this, I'm probably going to use this antenna later on, but I like this setup too, that if I do crash or I do hit a tree or anything, this will flip back, and Bosscam makes this pretty steady here. Let's see if I can show you. Pretty good. I mean, it's not like if it's directly to the board. I mean, you do have a metal plate around here where this goes screwed in, so it's pretty tough. I've seen a lot of these where the antenna is directly onto the board, and the first hit you do, it snaps off, and boom, you're starting over. Here we go. This is what I got so far. I already got the tie wraps in place. So from the bottom, that's what you see. Nice and clean. Looks like it was factory. And this is what I have so far in the front. The Mobius camera goes in here, and then this, the FPV goes in the back. And like I mentioned, right overhead is going to go this section, which is going to be a little offset to the back just to balance the weight perfectly. I already weighted with the Mobius camera here and the controller here, and it's perfect. I mean, perfectly balanced. Now if you notice here, let me get to the light, there's a small little hole where I placed this here, and there's a little hole right when I place the camera here. So the power cable and the video cable from here is going to go down through this little hole, connecting to the board itself, feeding the power to this. And then the other one is going to feed through under here, up through this little hole at the bottom, and right to the Mobius camera connector. So no cables in between. It's going to go up to here. So the only amount of cables you're going to see on this whole entire build here is going to be what's going to go from the controller board to the actual receiver that's here. That's going to send the data. And everything's going to be hidden nice and neat, squished up like a little sandwich in there. And so far so good. Where once you have this built and ready to go, and you do install the receiver, you take both of these antennas, you run one through this little hole here, and one through this other little hole here, feed them all the way through, you connect just like this. Then, now that I have them in the middle, grab a tie wrap, run the tie wrap through here, and you tie wrap it pretty good, and you connect this cable with this little antenna here, and then one on that side. What that's going to do for you is when you're done, it's going to look like a little bug. It's going to have the one antenna hanging this way, one antenna hanging that way. Two things it's going to do. One, it's going to make it really easy, so the transmitter sees an antenna at any given range and time. And two, you're not going to have the issue of what a lot of people do. So when they just leave this loose, you have a little prop spinning, and these cables end up getting caught in the prop or getting damaged or messed up. So also for your Mobius user, once you connect this way, you're going to have a direct line of sight with this little hole here to turn the Mobius camera on at any time. Nice and clean. Got the space in the back, nothing on top except the receiver that's going to be up there. Battery in the bottom, strapped nice and neat. Got my connector in the back, so when I got the board ready to go, it's gonna just connect right here. Boop, small little plug back there, and that's it. I mean, if I could find a way to hide this even better, you know, I might take it to another level altogether and maybe just install a hard bracket back here where I can just kind of like turn and stick, or maybe just, you know, maybe plug it straight up right here. You know, I'll find a way. Now keep in mind, these little legs on here, they're not designed for crazy landings. You know, it's really to balance out that battery. So for instance, if I'm going to land somewhere, if I want to take off, you know, boom, nice and neat. You see? Clear and comfortable. So it's a good takeoff. You know, I'm off the grass enough, and because if I didn't have these placed here with this battery in the bottom, every time you lay it down, it's going to flop this way or flop that way, and it's kind of annoying. So at least, you know, it's not perfect, but it's good. And as I mentioned before about the vibration dampeners here, you know, the whole purpose of this board is as these motors vibrate at high speed, these little dampers are going to help out. So there was no need to vibration dampen the Mobius. Some people use a CCD camera here, a small Sony cam, and they place a Mobius on top. The Mobius it does an incredible job at FPV as well. I mean, it has a setting for narrow and wide. So a lot of people don't know this, but the actual Mobius cam doesn't really record at 1080p. It actually records at 2K. Then it steps it down to 1080p, and that's what kind of gives you that digital wide angle lens feel. So it's a software wide angle lens, but it's more than enough what you're gonna need for this, you know, and record some fun time. So again, clean, simple. The only thing you're gonna see in the top is the antennas that are gonna pop out. You kind of want to keep these separate, even though this is 5.8 and this is 2.4. Shouldn't have any problems, but I want to keep it clean. Just want to keep these antennas away. I'm gonna have my ESCs installed right here, and my motors are here. So what's gonna happen is the motors are gonna install here. I'm gonna solder the motors directly to the ESCs, and the ESCs directly to the PVC board, right, power distribution board, right at the bottom here. So it's gonna be linear, clean, no mess, nice and neat. Yeah, like I said, the Diatone number 17, I like the look of it. It has a nice shine to it. It's pretty light. I'm actually, you know what? Let me see how much it weighs so far. All right, here we go. Let's see with this battery and what we have. So far, 336 grams. Beautiful, nice and light. Let's go ahead and slap in the OSD. Slap in the little beeper. Transmitter. And like I said, I just need the motors and the props and the ESCs, which they're really, really tiny. So everybody take up any space. Let me see if I have any small ESCs in here. Oh, this is a fairly large. It's a huge ESC. This can pretty much say like if it's all 4 small ESCs. I'll store it in there. These are so heavy. These are like huge, exaggerated heavy. So I'm gonna slap it in there. Just to be on the crazy safe side, let's put 2 in there. Just take it over the top. Right now, with a, faking the weight, 487 grams. Still super light. I mean, I like it. I think it's gonna be fun. I think it's gonna fly neat. I do like that for practice purposes. If I don't want to, let's get this out of here. If I don't want to go fast right away, I do have plenty of room. I mean, from here to here, to not use a 1.3 and replace it with a 2200 milliamp battery. It's strong enough because of the 3-leaf and the motors that I bought that I can use a 2200 milliamp battery. It's not gonna be as fast, but if I want to cruise, let's say for 10-12 minutes, instead of go high speed for 5 minutes, I'll use the heavier battery and get a little more FPV practice, or maybe shoot it up there. I'm not expecting incredible aerial photography from this, but I'm expecting incredible fun from it. This is going to be the CC3D board. Super simple board. It has aqua mode, good for stunts and flips and anything else. And if I decide I get tired of the FPV racing and I want to do some long range FPV with this, then I'll simply replace the CC3D board with the micro APM. And with the micro APM, I'll be able to add right up here, right on the top, the actual GPS module with compass. He's looking good. I like it. I like where it's going. Right now, I'm going to go ahead and turn off the camera, and I'm going to turn it back on while it's connected to the unit itself, because I want to see if I'm going to try it at wide angle at the narrow mode and see what how it looks like on both. As soon as it goes in. There you go. Alright, right now it is on the actual unit, and I wish I had a mirror in here I can show you. And it is on wide angle, so let's see, I'm going to fly next to some things. I'm going to bank a little bit, move around, see how much room I have. Wide angle, the problem with wide angle is that it doesn't give you real-time movement. I mean, I can move pretty fast through the room, and it looks like you're going a lot slower. I can get real close to objects, and it looks like you're pretty far away. So we have to be careful. Alright, now I'm going to switch it to the narrow view. There, now I'm on narrow view. This one automatically, as soon as I turn it on, it starts recording at narrow. So, same experiment. I'm going to go next to the chair, move around, look at this thing, get real close to this, bank a little bit, move around, this way, boom, narrow, 720p.